Hey folks, for today's video I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you an advanced tactic, how to get items off of a character if you end up in a bad situation without necessarily having to waste the roll. So for example, in this game, I'm running a Lilac Carousel game, Lilac Nebula, and my ideal choice is a Kale, but due to how fast and it's got a sword, I don't quite get it, and instead I end up with a Jhin with a Tear. Now, Jhin with a Tear, not ideal here. You know, there aren't really a lot of great items you can build on Jhin that use the Tear, except maybe Hand of Justice, but half the time that's kind of a waste. So at this point, I'm kind of stuck with a Jhin with a Tear, right? Well, no. With some proper planning, you can get that Tear off of Jhin without selling the Jhin. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So throughout the game, what we're going to do is we're still going to build items on Jhin. For example, here you can see I've got a GA on Jhin, which is a good Jhin item, but I don't use the Tear. I make sure to leave the Tear as a component. So that's going to be key to doing this. So fast forward a little later, you've got a second Jhin, and you're ready to upgrade, but you need to set everything up before you got the 3 Jhins. This will require 3 full items. So for example, with an ideal situation with Jhin, maybe it's IE, Hurricane, GA, stuff like that. In this case, we have GA, Last Whisper, and we're not going to get the item we want, so we're going to end up building a Hurricane. And so what's going to happen is, I'm going to fast forward a bit here, and at the point where we get the next Jhin, which will be right here, okay, now here's what's going to happen. At this point, if I were to buy this, these would combine and I'd be stuck with the Tear. That would be very bad. So instead, what we do is we build the 3rd item. There are now 3 complete items between the Jhins. Okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to switch the position so that the one on the board takes priority. So the way the item priorities work here is that it goes anything on the board first, followed by anything on the bench. So in this case, it's going to take Hurricane first, and then the other thing it does is it prioritizes full items over components. So it takes the Hurricane first, then checks the bench and sees 2 full items, GA and Last Whisper, and will pop the Tear off. And there you go. So now I was able to hit my 2-star Jhin a little earlier than if I had just remade the Jhin. That gives you an ideal Jhin situation. So to show another game where that was used pretty well, we're going to fast forward to right about here. At this point, we actually have a pretty good Vel'Koz here. We have a Vel'Koz with Seraphs and QSS. Perfect items for the Calamari build. But we have that Rod, which we could use to make like a Death Cap or a Morello, but we've got 2 Tears over here, which are really good. Being able to do the double Seraphs Vel'Koz build and instacast at the start of fights is massive. And so we really want those. And so what we're going to do is right here, we're going to move forward and we're going to get our second Vel'Koz here. And we build the Seraphs on the second Vel'Koz. Now in this case, we can actually play with 2 Vel'Kozes in at this point. At this point in the game, it's powerful enough, not a big deal. But fast forward to the next turn. And when we get our 3rd Vel'Koz, same trick. All we have to do is to put the other one on the bench. It'll take the Seraphs, then the 2 full items, and every time we get the perfect items we're looking for, the other item pops off, and we don't have to remake the champion. This is a new feature to 10.7, but use this to your advantage to make sure you get the optimal items you want. And in this particular game, because we had these perfect items, we end up in a really good case where our 3-star Vel'Koz gets to instacast at the start of every fight. And pay off really well. So this is a good tactic. Use this to your advantage. I hope this kind of video has been helpful. If it has, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to do more of these. Good luck with your ranked games. Take it easy.